And good Friday evening to you, James Brierton, Carolina Weather Group live coverage here for July 8th, 2016. It's 8:22 p.m. Eastern Time. You're taking a look here, live radar from the Raleigh site here as we are tracking severe thunderstorms across a lot of the Piedmont tonight. Matter of fact, we have severe thunderstorm warnings right now for a number of metro areas in the Carolinas, including in Charlotte, in Greensboro, in Raleigh. And as we move the radar further to the west, you can see we had a line of severe thunderstorm warned cells here that just slid to the south of Asheville, now making their way towards the Greenville, South Carolina area. So this is a special live coverage here on YouTube, Google Hangouts, and our other platforms from the Carolina Weather Group, your weekly show with your favorite weather nerds talking all things weather. And tonight we are going to be tracking storms across the area. Of course, you can interact with us on Facebook, Twitter, and right here on Google Hangouts and on YouTube. We'd love to get your storm reports. Matter of fact, we're already tracking right now some damaging thunderstorms across the area. I'm going to start in the Charlotte area, and we'll work our way around the state right here. But we're getting reports from train spotters in Gaston County. Let me circle that for you here. If you're not familiar with the area, you can see that severe thunderstorm warning there. We got reports of hail and trees down here. Now, this is a severe thunderstorm warning active for Cleveland, Gaston, and Lincoln counties, and even parts of Mecklenburg County. That includes parts of the Charlotte area. There's uptown Charlotte, the Metroplex. If you've been to the area and you're familiar with the area, we are tracking this severe thunderstorm, which does have a history of thunderstorm wind damage, taking down several trees as it made its way across portions of Gaston County, just south of Cherville there, currently impacting parts of Gaston County. Let me even go ahead and highlight for you. This is Interstate 85, even if you've just driven through the area trying to get your bearings, and here's Interstate 77. So you can see right now that we're kind of impacting the northwest side of the Charlotte metropolitan area from Cornelius and Huntersville. That's going to, of course, include areas of Lake Norman, back across Stanley, Dallas, and Gaston. So we're going to watch this storm here over the next few minutes as we expect it will impact the large population of people in the Charlotte area. And we are getting reports of frequent lightning, pea-sized hail, and some very, very heavy rain. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. National Weather Service telling us they are continuing to track all of these storms across portions of South Carolina, Georgia, and of course portions of the North Carolina area. One of the things we're going to keep an eye on here as well is we're going to monitor multiple National Weather Service offices for you. If you are not familiar with the area, there are a number of really key areas that the forecast offices are watching. The first X is Greenville, Spartanburg, followed by Roanoke, Blacksburg, which kind of has the northern portion of North Carolina. We also have an office in Columbia, South Carolina, and in Raleigh as well. So we're going to be watching for bulletins to be coming out from all of those offices. And even you can see in Lancaster, South Carolina, just south of the Charlotte area, we got a storm right now that's going to be making its way into Union County, North Carolina, and Waxhaw. And not to get off on too much of a tangent, but you can see we have a kind of very uniquely shaped severe thunderstorm warning here. And although this particular cell, which is helping prompt this warning, is going to be sliding back into North Carolina and Union County, we don't currently technically have a warning there because this warning comes from the Columbia office. All of the surrounding area that I just kind of scribbled on here, that is the Greenville, Spartanburg office. So we'll wait to see what they do exactly here with this warning. But essentially, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning just south of the Charlotte area as well that we're just going to go ahead and assume also is going to impact portions of the Union County area as we're beginning to watch that storm roll on through, that warning active for the next 45 minutes or so. Let's make our way to the west, and then we'll make our way to the east because we're watching a lot of things right now. And we just kind of mentioned this this Georgia area, and as well as portions of South Carolina. What's catching my eye right here is that we now have a new severe thunderstorm warning active for the next 48 minutes or so. So that'll bring us just past the 9 o'clock Eastern hour. That will likely impact portions of the Greenville area, and if it continues on, possibly going to see that in the Spartanburg area as well. These particular storms, the main threat here, of course, with any severe thunderstorm warning, we're watching for damaging wind and quarter-size hail. We do have reports from amateur radio that this storm did dump in Jackson County, North Carolina. That's back up in this neck of the woods, about 1-inch size hail. That report from 7:55. So not too long ago, this storm dumping nickel-size to inch-size hail as it made its way across Jackson County, North Carolina. So if you're in this neck of the woods here, so this is south of Asheville, we're talking about the upstate of North Carolina, and even if you have friends back into the the Georgia mountains here, you're going to begin to see some of these thunderstorms come rolling through your neck of the woods in the next few minutes. Let's take you out to the central part of the state and the west part of the state where, again, we are watching these severe thunderstorms. And the best way I can actually kind of categorize this for you is we essentially have one really long warning that stretches across the I-85 corridor from Greensboro through Raleigh back into Rocky Mount. And even as you make your way closer to the coast and closer to where I-85 and I-95 come together. We don't yet see these storms and warnings into the Greenville area, but let me tell you some of the reports here without going through all of the counties. We do have numerous counties under severe thunderstorm warnings, but essentially it includes the metroplexes of High Point in Greensboro, Durham, Raleigh, Rocky Mount, anybody along that I-85 corridor here. We are watching severe thunderstorms which have already brought down trees in the Greensboro area. That report coming in at about 7:57, so we're beginning to see winds that are toppling down some trees. We have numerous reports from that neck of the woods, including from Forsyth County, where we are also getting reports of 46-mile-per-hour winds recorded from an ASAW station at the Smith Reynolds Airport. So that's, of course, an automated station that was measuring some of the winds as it came across the area. Matter of fact, I think what we're probably looking at here is the winds right in this area. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch our radar scope product here, and I'm going to bring up we're going to change from reflectivity, which, if you're not familiar, is kind of the classic the rain indicator, and we're going to switch to velocity. What's going to happen here is we're going to measure kind of the movement of the wind, the air in the air, and we're going to take radar estimates. These are radar estimates, and you can see the radar estimating nearly 60-mile-per-hour winds. What I always like to remind folks when we're looking at this is when a radar beam goes out, it's taking a cross-section of the atmosphere. And as it gets further and further away from the actual radar site, that cross-section gets higher and higher up into the air. And when you're looking at the radar setup in North Carolina, it gets a little tricky in this neck of the woods because the beam from Raleigh is nearly 10,000 feet up. So when I tell you that portions of the western Greensboro and High Point suburban areas are seeing radar estimated winds at 60 miles per hour, we're talking about winds that are essentially at 9,000, 10,000 feet up into the atmosphere. So it could be a little bit different down on the ground, but it's a pretty good way to gauge what is happening on the ground without being everywhere at once. And the other tool we can use, in addition to kind of just looking at the amount of lightning with this storm, tons of lightning right now coming through Lexington and High Point and Greensboro. Lightning itself is not going to prompt a severe thunderstorm warning, but of course is very deadly. If you are close enough to hear lightning, you are close enough, if you're close enough to hear thunder, you are close enough to be struck by lightning. But what we are going to look at here is echo tops. Echo tops is the radar indicated top of the storm. The stronger a storm, the higher up in the atmosphere it's going to boil. And I believe we have Kit, who is live in Gaston County right now. Kit?
Yeah, and the severe storm is just north of me. I've missed both of the severe storms. I'm not sure if it's showing up, but there's the lightning behind me back there with the rain column.
Okay, we just finished talking about if you're close enough to hear thunder, close enough to be struck by lightning, so be safe out there. I'm going to move our radar back into the Charlotte area, practice what we preach, right, kids? So,
yeah, I was just showing it and heading inside now.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. So has the storm already come through your neck of the woods there?
So what you're seeing there, if you look just south of Mount Holly, that little dot, I'm in the gap of radar coverage just to that south, or not the gap of radar coverage, but the gap of
just down ahead of the storm
rain.
Here.
Right. That's me just south of, on the south end of that circle you drew.
Yeah, okay, so it's going to be coming into the Belmont area. I heard weather radios going off, I think, on your end and my end here in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Last few minutes, and that is being prompted by the Greenville-Spartanburg office reissuing that severe thunderstorm warning. So we are continuing to monitor. This storm,
They just
wind
extended it down to
60
Miami.
miles per hour. That's right. Hail 1 inch. We're also just getting a report in from the National Weather Service. This is from social media, so I'm sure local news crews and the National Weather Service will be going out to try to get firsthand accounts of this to verify it. But it's coming in from Lincoln County, Iron Station in Lincoln County, North Carolina, just north of Gaston County, just north of where Kidd is, of a roof that has slid off the top of a house. Or excuse me, this is, I apologize, it's siding. I saw the word siding, I thought it was slid. It's siding that has blown off the side of the house, and if we put the radar into motion here in the last few minutes, we might be able to get an idea of just how strong some of these winds are as they came across that area. So I'll leave that there in a second, and I'll ask you, Kit, what are the winds outside your window like right now? Because certainly looking at the radar, they look very strong.
Well, I will tell you, I believe what they're viewing on YouTube is the Carolina Weather Group, and that's the NWS chat page. So go ahead and share your screen, because I'm not sure if they're getting the.
Oh, let me
Well,
take a look at that, because I'm seeing on preview, I'm seeing radar scope, but let me try flipping you up.
right. Because I'm trying to pull up the YouTube link right now to see what is being broadcast, just to be sure.
Absolutely. Here, I'll pop you up while we take a look at it, and you can kind of give us a first-hand account where I try to override some of the Google Hangout settings.
Okay. So what's going on down here is as what I saw a shelf cloud come through about 10 minutes ago. We were seeing gusts probably near 40 miles an hour because there were tall pine trees and large oak and poplar and ash trees that were swaying very heavily, and a few small branches were being broken off. And I have a little card from the National Weather Service of how to estimate the winds and gives those little signs to look for. And it has just started raining at my house, but most of the winds were probably staying steady around 20 miles an hour, but gusting easily over 40. But again, I'm going to try and broadcast my screen here real quick, but where I am in Belmont is far to the south of the heaviest winds. Let's see, share. So where I am is down here to the south Belmont, right where I've clicked in that right corner there. But the majority of those heavy winds are going to be in this main part of the cell, right where this box is. And that's what the real concern is for those strong winds, because since I'm on the south end, I'm only getting part of it. Let's see if I can do velocities on here. It doesn't show up very well. My color table's bad, but right here where those bright colors are, just to the west of Paul Creek, that's where you're going to be seeing those winds potentially over 50 miles an hour, which can start to do damage. We have a report here in Gastonia of several trees down reported. So that's probably done by the police station that's around that area.
And Kit, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to jump in for just a second here. We got radar scope just north of Greenville, South Carolina. National Weather Service pointing this out to us, and you can see it right there. We have a downburst signature here. This is in the area of Greer or Tigerville. We're looking at 51 knots, which do a quick conversion using the radar estimated winds here. And luckily, we're very close to the radar site, and we can clearly see about 60 mile per hour winds here from this downburst. So I wouldn't be surprised in the next few minutes if we start to get some reports of damage from this area. This is right now north of Interstate 85.
Right.
Our friend Scotty Powell telling the Weather Service right now, multiple trees down in the southeast Caldwell County, Temple Hill Church Road. That's our friend Scotty Powell passing that along. He's, of course, up in the North Carolina foothills and up into the mountains monitoring the high country this evening. I believe I cut you off. You were taking a look at some of the Charlotte area. I'll put your screen back up. I'll have, I guess you can walk us through some of this, and then I'm going to probably flip back over and check things out in the Raleigh neck of the woods real briefly.
Right. So with this storm that has been continued for parts of southern Iredell, Stanley, I can't remember. We're China Grove, Granite Quarry, all these counties over here. I'll put it back on the radar. We can see that this large polygon here with this new continuation of the severe thunderstorm warning has been extended for many places past Charlotte. And I'll throw it back to you because my mom is calling me.
All right, thanks, kid. I'm going to pop my radar scope back up on the screen here. We're continuing to watch at the moment here as some potentially damaging winds come into the Charlotte area. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that's going to continue until about 9 o'clock or so, with winds of a potentially 60 miles per hour. So, new report in from Gaston County of quarter-size hail. It's about 1 inch in size coming in from Gaston County in the last few minutes. So, severe thunderstorm warning, meaning that we are watching for damaging winds, 60 miles per hour, quarter-size hail or greater. And of course, we are getting reports of that just now as well. Mecklenburg County, Interstate 45 at exit 14. We've got heavy wind blowing traffic and moving cars on the highway, according to someone who is out right now. And matter of fact, I was just taking a look at some traffic cameras that are up. Right now, we can't see a whole lot. Otherwise, I would pop it up on your screen for you, other than to show cars, of course, with headlights on. Very dark outside, but of course, the sun is setting as well now. But if you're not familiar with the area, Charlotte does have Interstate 45 that kind of circles the city. We have Interstate 85 that cuts through the city. It's a north-south road, although when it comes through the Charlotte area, it's essentially east-west. And then we have Interstate 77. So we do have several different interstate systems with travelers on them at this hour, and we'll keep a close eye on that. Not wanting to neglect some of the situations elsewhere in the state right now, we're going to take a look in the Greensboro area, and we're actually going to switch to the radar out of Roanoke. This is the Blacksburg area. This is kind of the best radar signature we're going to be able to get right now for this part of the state. We were getting some reports before, potentially damaging winds, and right now the radar estimating about 50 mile per hour winds crossing Interstate 85 in the High Point area. I'm going to check right now with the National Weather Service to see if we have any new storm reports in from that neck of the woods, because as that storm made its way through Forsyth County not too long ago, a law enforcement telling the National Weather Service that it's already blown down several trees in the area from these winds. And we have just a littering of similar reports from these storms as they make their way on a rough trajectory of west to east across portions of North Carolina this evening. I'm looking at easily a dozen storm reports that stretch from the Blue Ridge Mountains, from the border with Tennessee, back across the high country, of trees being blown down over the course of just the past few hours or so, as this line of storms that you're now seeing stretching from Greensboro to Charlotte made its way across the border over the course of the last few hours.
Right, and those one of them that I think is the one that came into the Charlotte region right now. It actually started as a severe storm back in Asheville, right around 5 o'clock. So all these storms are sort of long track thunderstorms right now. And my mom and dad were at the Charlotte Knights baseball game, which the stands have been moved into the covered areas underneath, like all of the awnings is what they're called. So that was a little bit of a live report from my mom.
Yeah, well, no, that's good information, because obviously baseball stadium, you have a large gathering of people. That's right here in the Charlotte area. Matter of fact, we actually have a terminal radar in the Charlotte area, which will give us a real crisp picture of what's happening in the immediate Charlotte area. And I can actually point out for folks who might not be too familiar with the Charlotte area, that stadium is right in here, right in the uptown Charlotte area, not too far from Bank of America Stadium, although I am noticing on radar scope that this image is about 10 minutes old. So I'm going to switch back to our main radar out of Greenville-Spartanburg, which services a lot of that Charlotte area. And you can see here in the next few minutes, we will expect that heavy rain and lightning to move into the Charlotte area. So Kit, certainly happy to hear that they have moved those fans to safety.
Right, and I'm seeing a lot, like, again, with the terminal radar, it is 10 minutes old for the velocities, but it was the sort of the bow portion of it was headed towards the Charlotte region about 5 minutes ago, and I'm seeing places to the east of Charlotte, or sorry, to the west of Charlotte, showing nearly 50-mile-an-hour winds. So that is a bit of a concern, and the reasoning for the severe thunderstorm warning being for the Charlotte metro region currently, and then continued on to Concord and places up the 85 corridor.
Yeah, that's actually a perfect segue, and you might be seeing the storm reports as well. But we are starting to get some storm reports in from that neck of the woods of trees blown down across Davidson County. I believe we have a live picture now from our friend Joey. I don't know if we have audio with Joey.
Yeah, you should be able to hear me.
Hey,
yeah, we got
Joey.
you.
All right, yeah, I don't know how long I can. I got connection. I am totally breaking every rule we tell you by standing out in the middle of lighting in the middle of the yard.
I did it 10 minutes ago. It's okay.
Yeah, I yelled at
all
Kid
right.
a few minutes ago as well.
All right. Well, I'm pink skies at night. There you go, guys. Check that out.
And Joey, let folks know what part of the state are you in?
I am in Claremont, North Carolina, on the northern end of Catawba County, not far from, a lot of people might know the reference of Riverbend Park or the Oxford Dam. I'm just a little south of that.
Okay, so for folks who have been following along with us for the last few minutes, we were talking about the storm that is now coming into the Charlotte area moments ago, impacting Gaston County, Lincoln County to the north of that, Joey, one county north of that, so Catawba. So these storms have just finished rolling through your area, Joey. Is that correct? You seeing any storm damage?
Correct. To be completely honest with you, not even a drop of rain at my location.
Wow, that's pretty incredible when you consider just how wide this line is at the moment. With
Yeah.
active warnings right now stretching from Charlotte to Greensboro and then eastward towards Raleigh.
Yeah, I somehow squeezed between two cells. I kind of watched it on radar. I have limited internet access way up here in the county, but basically I kind of watched what I could. It looks like I just slid right in between the two. But it's definitely raining all the way around me. I could see it plain as day. And yeah, your view right here is south towards the storms you guys are talking about.
Okay, yeah, and that would be the, if I'm looking correctly, I zoomed in a little bit too much. I think Joey is around this area, right around where my cursor is clicking.
Yeah, you're coming up on the screen right now, Kit.
Yeah, so he should be looking right down. I don't have a draw tool, but he's looking right down towards the Belmont, Mount Holly region where the storms have just cleared through. And I believe it stopped raining at my house, but it does still look like it is raining fairly heavily, possibly with some small hail in the Charlotte area right now.
Matter of fact, I am actually I'm in South Charlotte with the border of Pineville. I'm working on bringing up our Hangout on my cell phone so that I can move to a window because I can actually hear the wind outside. And if you guys wouldn't mind driving this conversation for just a moment, I'm going to attempt to get to a location where I can show you outside safely and see if we can get a kind of on-the-ground look here at what's happening in the South Charlotte area.
Yeah,
Right.
anybody in the Catawba County area, we should issue a sunset warning right now. I got trees in my way, but you can kind of see it back there.
I would say, though, that anyone in the UNC Charlotte area and University City should be taking notice, as this is a very heavy storm and one of the heaviest parts of the rain, and probably I'm trying to pull up the velocities on it. Again, it doesn't show up as well as the ones on radar scope, but you can see these bright greens just underneath this triangle showing the hail. Those are winds that are showing up at or above 54 knots. However, that is at 15,000 feet. But with the heavy enough rain, as we can see in this deep red and some of the pinks showing up, a little bit of hail potentially, we could have some of those heavy gusts of winds be brought down by the rain.
And Kit, I'm still working on bringing up my my phone, but you mentioned a chronic problem we have, which is radar coverage in the Charlotte area.
Well, I am currently looking off of the Raleigh radar site. I can pull up Greenville-Spartanburg. That is a little bit better. It's maybe like 12,000 feet. But again, these storms, we make light of the radar coverage, but we can still see that these storms are rather hefty and they are not to be messed with right now.
All right, I'm going to move to mobile.
All right. It's kind of a small dot, but this little red square is right where the university is, and this is from the Greenville-Spartanburg radar site. And this is showing up at just under 8,000 feet. So with these winds here, if we can pause this and get it to look up, I have a look at it, and I'm showing 53 knots just north of Dorita, which is to the west of University City. But looking elsewhere, up and down the 85 corridor, Kannapolis is getting pounded right now. It's really crossing the 85 corridor from Charlotte all the way up into Rowan County. We can see Granite Quarry kind of getting missed by the heaviest of the rain, but places like Kannapolis and China Grove, they have seen some torrential downpours this evening, just from the past 10 minutes. One other thing we can see is just north of Greer, where we had that downburst signature from earlier, we can see that this storm has been deemed severe thunderstorm. That's not what I want. There we go. And we have just gotten a new severe thunderstorm warning issued for Stanley County, Montgomery County, parts of Moore and Chatham County, as well as Randolph County, to continue the warnings for this line of thunderstorms that is just now moving through the Charlotte metro region. We can see that UNC Charlotte is right under the gun for the heaviest rain that they will be seeing this evening right now. One thing I just as a matter of fascination, you can see these long bands of the light blue that are coming out from these storms. These are what we call outflow boundaries. And these can spark off new thunderstorms in places that haven't seen much rain or really any storms in the day. So we see places down in Union County or Chester County getting a new set of thunderstorms spawned off in the next couple of hours. That is not a guarantee, but it is something to watch out for. I'm trying to switch over to the eastern part of the county right now, or part of the North Carolina, where we're seeing severe thunderstorm warnings for Wake County, Johnson County, Wilson County, out towards Edgecombe and Halifax. I will admit I'm not as well versed on my eastern North Carolina county names, but I've got those pulled up. I think I might take off the city names just so that we can see where these severe thunderstorm warnings are covering. So we can see that right now the portions of Wake County aren't seeing much heavy rain, but since the National Weather Service has still continued that severe thunderstorm warning over that area, it still needs to be taken seriously. We can see that Alamance and Orange County, just to the west of Raleigh, they still have severe thunderstorm warning, and I can pull up the times on when that should expire. This is until 9 p.m., so that's only for 10 minutes, but we may see a continued warning from the Raleigh National Weather Service, as we do have these storms coming through Guilford and Randolph counties, and they are still moving towards Chatham County and even possibly towards the Raleigh area. We can see that over here, over Wake County, it has been canceled. The severe thunderstorm warning is canceled for Wake County and the Raleigh area. So places like Raleigh, Garner, Cary, Knightdale, that severe thunderstorm has moved off to the east-southeast of you all, but it may still be time to keep it in mind that there are storms to your west that are still moving in. So places to the north of Raleigh, like Wake Forest or Rollsville, you could still see another severe thunderstorm warning come through this evening. So don't think that if one is canceled, then you are in the clear for the rest of the day. Keep in mind that this is a large system. As I pan out, we can see it goes all the way up into Virginia. I'm trying to turn off all county names because it's kind of cluttered, but we see it the rain expands all the way up into Virginia, all the way back. This is right at 2, maybe 300 miles, possibly even 4 if you go all the way back to the severe thunderstorms that are around the Greenville-Spartanburg area.
And Kit, we actually, I have stuck my camera outside. I'm going to pop it up on the screen here. And we just got reissued the severe thunderstorm warning for the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area from the Greenville-Spartanburg office. And I had that camera up until about 2 seconds ago. Are you guys able to see? There's Joey's camera up in Catawba County. And are you able to see my camera outside? I'm not seeing it myself anymore, but I will read the bulletin while we attempt to reconnect with that camera.
I think what we're seeing from you is radar scope on your phone. It might be a case of my laptop not loading it properly, but I'm just seeing a black screen from your computer in there.
All right, well, here is that radar scope with the severe thunderstorm warning for Mecklenburg County has been reissued and extended until 9:15. That gives us another 25 minutes or so. And in addition to Mecklenburg, this is also going to be Rowan, Union, and Cabarrus counties. I'm getting lots of.
There's always a lot of really great. There's a lot of really great clouds on the backside of this thing, guys. I hope my camera can pick it up well enough for you guys to be able to see it.
So Joey is showing us some of the clouds on the back end of this storm.
Yeah, you can see some of the incredible formations of that thunderstorm behind it. Just how the wind wraps around the thunderstorm and how the updrafts form it. You can see, I'm not sure if it's broadcasting me or if it's broadcasting Joey, but you can see how.
Back over to you, Kit.
No. Leave it on Joey. I'm just describing what I'm seeing. It's like it's pulling up all of the air from the ground, and it's sort of shooting up and out as it reaches different levels of the thunderstorm, or of the atmosphere. And you can see like sort of that band around the middle, look like a belt around the middle of the thunderstorm. It's just incredible. I was watching as the ones came through our area. There's a big shelf cloud that came through. I'll have that posted to the Carolina Weather Group page within the evening.
Still seeing a little lightning on Joey's camera, I believe, as well.
Yeah, the camera's probably not picking it up as well as I'm seeing it. It's almost consistent at this point.
I heard a lot of, well, actually I didn't hear a lot of thunder when the storms were approaching. It was very bizarre. I saw lightning about every 4 to 5 seconds, and occasional strikes as it was approaching, and then it went to my north. But I saw a number of strikes that never ended up having a loud rumble to them. It was really bizarre. I'm still trying to figure out how that was happening. Because heat lightning is non-existent, y'all. There was thunder, I just couldn't hear it for some reason. All right, it is looking the heaviest batches of rain. There's one last heavy downpour headed towards the uptown Charlotte region right now.
We just got quite the crack of thunder here in Pineville.
Yeah, I'm looking down there, and it's showing radar indicated 1.1 inch hail up in the storm. That's about 16,000 feet. So that's probably melting as it goes down, but Pineville might see some small hail as it is coming. And I just saw, as I was looking at Pineville, a new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for York County in South Carolina, and I'm trying to pull it up. This includes southern portions of Fort Mill and the brunt of Rock Hill. So people in Rock Hill do keep in mind that there is a severe thunderstorm warning. It's actually coming up off of one of those outflow boundaries that I was mentioning earlier. And this is headed east. I'm trying to pull up the description of it. This is moving east at 25 miles an hour with 60 mile per hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail potential for most of the portions of central and southeastern York County.
Guys, I'm losing battery out here, and I'm going to go ahead and head in. But one last look at my skyline. I'll kind of pan slowly across so you guys can see what I have before I wrap up and let you guys continue with the coverage. And I'm just going to go sit on the porch and enjoy the light show that I'm apparently going to get to have for a while now. So you guys continue the good work, and we'll see you on the next time.
Thank you very much, Joey.
All right, you have a good one.
Unfortunately, our live camera outside that I was trying to set up here in Pineville was not successful, Kit, and with the amount of lightning that is happening right now, I am not going to attempt to go back outside and get that set back up because that just does not seem like a good idea. But what I can pop up for just a moment is the Skycam from WBTV.com, where if we leave it up for just a second, you can watch the skyline flash as the storms continue to roll through to the Charlotte area. Matter of fact, we saw a tweet just a moment ago from WJZY anchor Bill Malugin, who caught one of those lightning bolts on camera just a few minutes ago in the Charlotte area. So lots of lightning right now in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we are also continuing to watch in the Greer, South Carolina area a severe thunderstorm warning with a downburst signature. This is damaging winds, which sometimes get confused on radar to be a tornado, kind of a similar index because signature, because you can see on the radar where the green and the red come together. This is clashing of the winds, but this is actually a downburst. This is the storm kind of pushing straight down winds, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start to get more reports out of that area in the next few minutes. Matter of fact, we do have some new storm reports that I'll go ahead and tell you about here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. The Charlotte, North Carolina area right now is still under a severe thunderstorm warning for the next few minutes, but we are getting reports in from spotters and social media that there are a number of trees down as winds continue to blow in some spots in excess of 60 miles per hour. Also being told visibility very poor. Sun is down. We've got heavy rain and lightning. And so we will continue to get storm reports in from other parts of the state. But like we said just a few minutes ago, we've got scattering dozens of reports of trees down and hail reports that extend from the North Carolina and Tennessee border. And then as you make your way west with this line of storms, more and more of those reports are coming in as we continue to see these storms push eastward.
And James, I'm going to pop outside real quick to see if there was any damage or anything to report to the National Weather Service. I'll be back in about 1 minute. I'm just going to check out the front door.
Absolutely. Stay safe. Kit there in the Gaston County, the Belmont area, just to the west of Charlotte. And so he's going to check for some storm reports in his neck of the woods because it wouldn't be too surprising if we did get some reports of damage either from Kit himself or elsewhere in the area because of the storms that came through there. So let's just reset it here. We're coming up at 9 o'clock. You're watching a special live edition of the Carolina Weather Group. James Brierton with you here from Charlotte, North Carolina. Some of our other regular panelists from our Wednesday night weather show are checking in as well as we continue to watch a severe weather evening here in the Carolinas, North Carolina, South Carolina, and even for our friends in other states as well, Tennessee and Georgia among them. The Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma has placed much of our state either in a slight risk or an enhanced risk for seeing severe weather. Matter of fact, I can just kind of quickly draw for you here on the state. We are all under a slight risk here in North Carolina. The enhanced risk kind of extends from Charlotte up into the foothills, including Asheville, and then portions of upstate South Carolina also under that slight risk. And then we're looking at just a marginal risk as you make your way further south into North Carolina. Matter of fact, that's where you're seeing some of those stronger storms right now in the South Carolina area. It's just up across near the borders with North Carolina and even back into Georgia, where you're beginning to see some of these storms right now. And the one that's, again, really catching our eye is this one thunderstorm just near the Greer area coming into Spartanburg, which just a few minutes ago was creating a downburst signature on radar, where you're going to get most likely some damaging winds coming in with those storms. So far, not a whole lot of storm reports out of that neck of the woods. Where we are getting a lot of the storm reports is back across the foothills and the higher elevation of North Carolina, where the storms came through in the past few hours. Dozens of reports there of trees down, and we're beginning to get very similar reports right now in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Also hearing there could possibly be some power outages with this as well, caused either by lightning strikes, trees coming down, or else or other weather-related incidences. We will continue to check on the rest of the state in just a moment. I see Kit is back at his computer. How's the look outside in Belmont, Kit?
We didn't have too much damage here. Like I said, we were to the far south of the majority of the storms. But what I pulled up here, like we had a few twigs and a few leaves down, and there was a pot on the back porch of one of Mom's plants that had gotten knocked over. But I've pulled up the SPC outlook for this evening. We can see that, like James was saying, we've got the enhanced risk for even parts of far western Virginia and southern West Virginia in that enhanced risk, with the slight going down into the Midlands and all the way out towards Myrtle Beach of South Carolina. But most of the southern half of the state is only in that level 1 of 5 severe threat. But I wanted to pull something up, and I forgot what it was. So I'll just pull up radar, that's Steam.
And now we're going to game. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, gaming time with Carolina Weather Group.
What's catching my attention right here on your screen, Kit, that we're looking at is that an outflow boundary that we're seeing across portions of upstate North Carolina, Spartanburg, back into York County?
Yeah, it is. And it is moving sort of parallel to the North Carolina-South Carolina border. Trying to pull up the counties to show which counties it's going through. It's going through York and Cherokee County, and slightly into Spartanburg County a little bit. But this is coming off of the storms that are now moving into Indian Trail, into Weddington, and it actually spawned or helped initiate that storm that we see here in York County that has the severe thunderstorm warning continuing out towards Rock Hill. That one is until 9:30 p.m. But with these outflow boundaries, it's basically the heavy rain has brought down a lot of cool air from the upper atmosphere, and it's smacked into the ground. So like we have with this thunderstorm from earlier that was creating that downburst, sometimes when it's downbursting like that, it can flow outwards from the thunderstorm, and it creates basically mini cold fronts. It's convenient that it's blue like a cold front, but that's just a matter of the colors that correspond to very, very small water droplets in the air at about 2,000 feet here. But this can initiate new thunderstorms to the south, like here in Union County, possibly down in Newberry County, or I can't make out the name of Fairfield County, that's what it is. We could see some new thunderstorms being spawned from these outflow boundaries that are coming out of Cherokee County. But that is a matter of time and circumstance.
Kit, you mentioned just a moment ago the severe thunderstorm warning near Greer, north of Greenville, coming into the Spartanburg area with that downburst signature. We just got a storm report in from the National Weather Service that I wouldn't be surprised is related to that. We do have confirmation that that has brought down some trees. But what I do want to pop up, or actually I'll stick with you just a second here. You're zooming in to kind of show, and what we're talking about, folks, is that area of green mixed in with all that red right there. That is that downburst of wind. It's actually coming real close to the Greenville-Spartanburg radar. Not too close that we're losing data, but I say close enough that we're getting a really good look at what's happening on the ground. We talked about earlier, as you get further and further away from that radar, you get higher and higher up into the atmosphere. So we're getting a real good look at what's happening down close to the ground, where of course the population is. So we do have a report. Matter of fact, is it that green icon that's on your screen there? Would that be the report of trees down we're seeing?
That is radar indicated hail within the thunderstorm, and that's actually only 549 feet into the air. However, that's probably, so this is vertically integrated liquid. It takes all of the radar from all of the different levels of scan that it has. So we see all these purples and pinks here, and it's going up and down, like I'm going up higher levels in the storm, down to lower levels, and we see lots of these purples. So the radar has algorithms that calculate, okay, there's probably 0.83 inch size hail. I'm not sure if I have storm reports turned on.
Yeah, no worries.
But
I'm going to pop up on our screen just real briefly. Stepping away from that, I want to go back to if it is actually showing up on the screen. I'm not seeing it in preview, but hopefully you are. WBTV.com. This is a sky cam. This is looking towards Uptown. This is looking.
yeah, I'm just looking at the radar scope on my screen.
You're not seeing that? Okay. I will step away from that radar scope. We've got circled the new storm report in Plaza Midwood area of Charlotte. This is the east side of town where we are getting reports that trees have blown down onto a house. Extent of injury is not yet known, but that is one of the, I would say, more significant property impacting, potentially injury impacting storm reports that we've gotten in. This is the Plaza Midwood area of Charlotte where trees are down reportedly on a house. This, again, one of the more urgent storm reports we're getting in this evening, as we do have numerous reports of trees down across the area, including some siding that was blown off a house in Lincoln County. But now we have reports that trees have reportedly blown down onto a home in Plaza Midwood. What I'm also noticing, and on this radar scan, is even though this main line has kind of come through the Charlotte area, we're seeing a little bit more development back across the area. So don't be fooled. Not time to go outside just yet, folks, because we still have lots of lightning and heavy rain in the area. Let me take this radar. We have lots happening elsewhere across the state right now, not just in the...
Sorry about that. I think I caught that James was popping off for a moment, so I'll jump in. I was about to share the YouTube link on my social media, but I can still talk about this. One thing we've continue talking about the western half of the North Carolina. We can see that I'll take off all of those county names that we're seeing cluttering up my screen, but I'll pop over to the Raleigh National Weather Service radar and take a look at some of these new and continued thunderstorm warnings for the eastern part of the state. Let's see if it will cooperate with me right now. But we can see a large portion of including Greenville, Kinston, Trenton, New Bern, and Washington, North Carolina has gotten a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's see the timing on this. This is until 9:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So it's going through the Greenville area. That's where East Carolina University is. So anyone who has family or friends that go to East Carolina might be taking some summer classes there. Be sure that they are aware that this thunderstorm is coming in towards their area. I can look at some of these radar returns for the velocities on it, and I'm seeing anywhere from 40 to 60 miles per hour winds going through those storms at the level they are. And again, I want to say that while this is showing up at around 4,000 feet into the thunderstorm, these are heavy rain events that could bring down those fast winds down to the surface that we're seeing. We can see that the Raleigh area has had their severe thunderstorm warning canceled, as well as Rocky Mount and up towards what is that? Tarboro. Let's see here. We have a wind report here. 911 call center says numerous trees reported down across the county around Edgecombe County. So that is one storm report that we have in for eastern parts of North Carolina. We can see, again, all these triangles are radar indicated hail. That does not mean that there is hail actually falling to the ground at the size that it's showing up, but it is still a concern. The reason why we say it doesn't reach to the ground at that size is because since it's been so hot today, I think it got up into the 90s in most of North Carolina, it melts as it falls through the air column. But if the air column cools enough, you can start seeing large hail fall. Or if it's large, which I don't think it should be, but that is a caution that we all need to keep in mind. I'm going to try and pull up the county names to show where this outflow boundary is going. It's going through Lee, Harnett, and Wayne and Johnson counties right now, and that all could spawn off new thunderstorms over the next couple of hours. So people down towards, I think, Cumberland counties where we have Fayetteville. Yeah, so Fayetteville, I know y'all just saw a little bit of rain come through not too long ago. We could see that going out towards Roseboro, but we could see a new set of thunderstorms come through there. I'm going to pan over here towards Rockingham and Wadesboro. That's Richmond and Anson counties, I believe. Let's see here. What time does this go out to? This goes out until 10 o'clock Eastern time for this thunderstorm that's moving out of Union County into Anson, and eventually it will go into Richmond County. We've got down here in Chesterfield County, y'all do not have a severe thunderstorm warning, and we still have parts of Lancaster County. This one only goes until 9:15 p.m. That is probably a continuation of this severe thunderstorm that is over in York County, where you see I'm covering up. I'm not sure if you all can see my cursor, so I'm just clicking and look to the top left corner of that box, and that's where I'm trying to draw your attention. But that severe thunderstorm warning is continuing. I'll pause it once we get here. It's continuing on into the panhandle of, we call it, of Lincoln County. I'm sorry, of Lancaster County, and headed into Union County, which has had its severe thunderstorm warning updated in there. And then we've got the new one just north of Pageland, that new thunderstorm. We have that coming in. Now, I will say on my radar, it does not show lightning. All of these thunderstorms here that you're seeing, anywhere that has really anything higher than the yellow colors, anything orange, red, or definitely pink and purple, that is going to be producing lightning. So that is something that you need to keep in mind with these storms, that they all have lightning with them. And I'm going to scan in here. We see 2 large trees down on the house. Oh, okay, that's what I'm getting those in a little bit later than James, but he was mentioning that earlier, that we have a number of trees down in the East Charlotte region. So these storms are definitely producing winds that could be in excess of, that's not what I want,